Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this from the Crypto Basic. Expert says XRP not priced in for SEC Ripple case conclusion. And I know that the conclusion of the Ripple versus SEC case is not priced in to the price of XRP. Think about it. You have institutions that want to get involved with Ripple. They're not going to pull the trigger as long as the Ripple versus SEC case is still ongoing. They're going to be very reluctant to do that. I also think the price of XRP is being held down because of the Ripple versus SEC case. In multiple videos, I even said, once this case is finally done and over, you're going to see XRP go through a price recovery phase where it's quickly going to climb to $8 plus, because then all the suppression will be lifted off the price of XRP. This comes from Vincent Van Code and Digital Asset Investor. Now you know what it was all really about. Ripple applying for that Fed Master account has her blood boiling. Take a listen to Caitlin Long here.
It's interesting to watch all the crypto companies trying to do the same thing we started doing 5 years ago, which is getting a bank charter and applying for Fed Master accounts. Several of them have done that now. They're not doing full-fledged bank charters. They're doing trust company charters in most cases. There is a difference. Banks can take deposits of US dollars. Trust companies cannot. And it's going to be interesting to see how the banking agencies deal with that whole question of, can you run a crypto company, including a stablecoin issuer, using a trust company charter? It's not been done yet at the federal level in particular. Some states have done it, but they're not actually taking deposits. There's always a bank partner behind them. What they're trying to do now is create a trust company that gets a Fed Master account for a tiny fraction of the capital that a bank has to hold. I'm not sure that's going to be that easy. It's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be litigation over this. I think it's not going to be a quick path. And I like where we are having a depository institution charter. We're still waiting for that Fed Master account. It'll be 5 years in October that both Kraken and Custodia applied for our Fed Master.
You know, the funny thing is, they're most likely gonna fast track Ripple because of what XRP was built to do. But she goes on to talk even more nonsense about XRP. Take a listen.
I don't mind that. I think it overstates how important that network is. Part of the problem is the banks have always been suspicious of it,
right?
Because it is a centralized network, and the tokenomics are backwards, right? So one of the step back in creating these tokenization platforms, the people who extracted money up front are never going to be trusted, because everybody's going to look and think that anything that they do is an exit scam to try to dump on retail. Okay, the most effective tokenization platforms are the ones where there was no money up front or very little money up front, and that's Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it's really that simple. I don't think...
Take notice what she's pushing while she's throwing shade on XRP. She's pushing Ethereum and Bitcoin. But Vet said she has no clue what she's talking about, but she talks with such confidence about it. 1. Ripple never did an ICO. XRP was worth nothing when the XRP ledger started, and all 100 billion XRP was put into the Genesis account. 2. The XRP ledger is decentralized. Either it's ignorance or lack of education to still insist otherwise. There is nobody preventing you from joining the network, run infrastructure, or even fork the code base. We have 1,000 nodes and 100 plus of validators run by individuals and businesses. The same people you deny exist. mind-boggling. 3. ETH didn't ICO. Bitcoin was taken to get ETH distributed to the initial investors. 4. Ripple Payments uses the XRP ledger and RLUSD. Is also issued on the XRP ledger. 5. There is a lot of progress on the XRP ledger. Growing business use cases, developers, functionalities via amendments, and a very deep liquid network supported by a native DEX, the very first DEX and tokenization platform in existence, the XRP ledger. And even David Schwartz addressed her. Caitlin Long, I'm available whenever you want to chat about the facts about Ripple, our stablecoin, RLUSD, the XRP ledger, and its native token, XRP. Let's start it with some basic ones above. She knows nothing about what she's talking about. She's still pushing that Bitcoin maxi nonsense that XRP is a centralized shitcoin. And finally, people are setting the record straight. I really hope Ripple gets that license that she's been waiting for 5 years now. Breaking, 42 U.S. banks just tried to block Ripple's bank license. I mentioned this in a video yesterday. And look at the names on here. The names of these banks, a lot of these banks are already working with Ripple. So either this list is wrong or the news is wrong. You see, JP Morgan Chase, I'm sure they are fighting back on that bank license for Ripple. But Bank of America, they've been using XRP internally for a long time now. They even have patents around XRP. Wells Fargo is another one that works with Ripple and XRP. Same thing with Goldman Sachs. I think they're quietly stacking XRP. Santander is a big one. We already know that Ripple's been working with them for years. So is the news wrong, or is this list of banks wrong? What I think is happening is this. Either the banks are putting up a front, pretending that they want to hold Ripple back, or they're really holding Ripple back because they're scared shitless of what Ripple is about to do. Either way, I think the outcome is Ripple's going to get that license, and I think it's going to be fast-tracked as well. Bank of America backs Trump's crypto debanking fight. Bank of America CEO says Trump is right that current banking rules cause political decisions, including debanking crypto. So the CEO of Bank of America, he's ready to go all in on crypto. Take a listen to this.
The president's after the right thing, which is the laws, rules, and regulations around our industry became used to cause things to happen. It's whether it's BSA, ML, whether it's KYC, whether it's reputational risk, and you heard Tim Scott quote about it. It is right to go look at these rules, because at the end of the day, they are causing decisions to be made that can be looked at in retrospect and made differently. We should get these rules right. So our company, my colleague companies, the industry has been working with the Treasury Administration today, in this administration, trying to figure out how to get these rules balanced so that we're not subject to this swinging back and forth in this after the fact look. So the president's on the right issue. He asked me about it in Davos. We were there. Right. He asked me, he talked about it this morning, and I welcome getting this fixed. At the end of the day, we bank 70 million consumers, more small business than anybody else, 12 million small business, more middle market companies than anybody else. We bank everybody. But the reality is we want to make sure that the rules and regulations don't cause decisions to be made that then are looked at in the aftermath and dealt differently.
The reason Bank of America wants the rules set up is so that they can start to get involved with custody of crypto assets, so they could also push ahead with innovation as well. Bank of America, it's just a matter of time until they start utilizing XRP externally as well. Right now, they're using it internally. Soon, externally. Ripple cannot control the XRP ledger, CTO David Schwartz says. He says that censoring transactions would open Ripple up to pressure. Ripple runs something like 1% of the XRP ledger. It doesn't sound centralized now, does it? Because we all know as XRP holders that it's not centralized at all. It's a narrative that was created by Bitcoin maxis a long time ago, and I can't believe that here we are in 2025 and they're still running with this narrative. This comes from Michael Branch. SBI Holdings has filed for a dual asset crypto ETF offering direct exposure to Bitcoin and XRP, marking a potential first for Japan's financial markets. Japan wants to push forward, and I think that they want to get everything moving so that they can get the upper hand on other countries as well. They want to be looked at as a crypto-friendly country. This is how you do it. And I'm sure they already have a lot of demand for an XRP ETF already. The reason that they're including Bitcoin is most likely they see how they could make money off of Bitcoin, especially now. There's still a lot of hype around Bitcoin still. The hype seems to be dying down and things seem to be shifting, but I think that they figure they could still make money off of this while they still can. Analyst, XRP price will explode against Bitcoin once this breakout happens. So Crypto Bull says very soon XRP will break out of this 5-year consolidation versus Bitcoin. The XRP price will explode and rise so quickly, and the vast majority will be left behind. Once that happens, I think we'll start to see XRP also break away from Bitcoin's price points as well. In other words, if Bitcoin falls in price, XRP will not fall with it. I think a true decoupling, though, will come with institutional demand and the rise of utility. I'm still eager to see that happen. SEC commissioners could vote to dismiss the appeal in a closed-door meeting today, a major turning point for Ripple and XRP. Now, we all know about these closed-door meetings. They happen all the time. And guess what? Nothing happens. They don't talk about the Rippleverse SEC case at all. These meetings come and go. And that's why I always told you, do not fall for the hype, because this is going to be announced over when we all least expect it. All of a sudden, the price of XRP is just going to skyrocket. 20 minutes later or so, the news will drop that the case is finally over. As per sources, BlackRock and Ripple are aligning to tokenize biometric identity and medical data on the XRP ledger. At the center is XDNA, developed by DNA on-chain, merging genomics with digital finance. A new era of tokenized healthcare is here. The reason I said BlackRock and Ripple have the same agenda is because Ripple works with central bank digital currencies. Ripple also pushes digital identity. BlackRock pushes that as well. Remember, they're always talking about tokenization at BlackRock as well. So I think when it comes to tokenized assets, if people want to tokenize anything of value that they have, they're going to need to have a digital ID as well. But I think it's all aligned with the elites as well, because BlackRock, in my opinion, is an elite company. Ripple is also an elite company. That's why Brad gets a seat at all those important tables. That's why Ripple is getting the nudge forward all the time. Now, as XRP holders, what we see is Ripple held back by the SEC. But the real reason that the Rippleverse SEC case happened, I think Ripple had to be fully vetted in the United States. Plus, they had to deem XRP a non-security. XRP will never be a security ever again. or even called a security ever again. Because Ripple is also going to get pushed into the financial system. I even think that's why they're going to fast track this banking license for Ripple as well. It's all lining up perfectly because the real people that run the world are causing this to happen. They're the ones pulling the strings. But in the end, them pulling the strings equals we all get rich together. And until it happens, stay patient and stay positive. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.